Hi guys, so today I'm doing this Valentine's Day inspired look with a very simple sultry eye and a bold lip. So starting off, I'm using my MAC paint pot in Soft Ochre, and this is going to be my eye base. So for this look, I'm using the Tartelette Tarte palette. I'm using Supermom, and I'm going to place this all over my lid. What this is going to do is give me a little bit more skin color on my eyelid because the Soft Ochre has a lot of yellow pigment. Now I do want a little extra color on my eyelids, so I'm going to mix together Caregiver and Supermom and use the same brush I did before and just pat these directly onto my lid. Next, I do want a very harsh line on the outer corner of my eyelid, so I'm going to place a little piece of Scotch tape. And I'm going in with a tapered blending brush by Sigma and starting off with the color Wanderer. I'm going to focus mainly on the outer V, dusting a little bit onto my lid. I kind of want to get a little bit of an ombre effect with this shade and working it slightly into my crease. I was told that voiceovers get easier the more you do them. It's a lie. So for my next shade I'm going to use is Power Player, and I'm going to apply this in reverse of what I did before. I'm focusing more on my crease and less on my lid. So I'm going to darken up that outer V a little bit more, going in with Dreamer, and I'm just going to pop this right along the tape and dragging it down along my lash line. I'm not going to focus too much on blending right now. I'm going back in with Wander, the second shade that we use, with a large fluffy brush, and I'm just going to blend out any harshness that I may have. And now finally, for a good transition shade, I'm using Free Spirit. It has kind of a banana powder look to it, and I'm just going to use that right up by my brow bone to blend everything evenly together. For my eyeliner, I'm using my MAC 210 brush and my NYC liquid liner. I'm going to follow right along the line that was made by the tape, and when you do this, you want to use a little bit more pressure in the crease of your eyelash, and the more you drag it up, you want to relieve that pressure, and it's going to give you more of a pointed wing. Okay, so starting at the beginning of your wing tip, you're going to connect that down to the center of your eyelid. If the bottom of your liner doesn't come out nice and neat, like I'm trying so hard right now to get it, it's okay. I'm going to go back with concealer and clean that up. So once I fill in that outer wing, I'm going to start now towards my tear duct, and instead of going in directly with the brush, I lay it down flat and drag that right along the shape of my eyelid. So now I'm going in with my NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer in the shade Vanilla and an angled brow brush, I believe, and I'm just going to clean up that outer line. So for primer, I'm going in with Nivea Men Post Shave Balm, and I'm really surprised that I like this as much as I do. I really didn't have much hope for it. And now to cover up any blemishes I have, I'm using LA Girl Pro Conceal, and I think this is in Creamy Beige. I could be wrong, but I'll post everything down in the description bar. And I'm just going to blend everything in with my finger. For foundation, I'm using the Amazonian Clay Full Coverage Foundation by Tarte. And I'm using my Morphe M439 foundation brush. It is amazing. I highly recommend this brush. And as far as the foundation goes, it is super thick and it is not very full coverage as it claims to be, but I really do like the finish that it gives me. So to highlight the areas of my face that I want highlighted, I'm using the NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer, and this is in the shade Vanilla. And I'm just going to pop this under my eyes, on the bridge of my nose, middle of my forehead, my chin, Cupid's bow, and right above my jawline. So this next step, I don't normally do this, but I kind of wanted to play around with it today. It's the Graftobian foundation. Did I say that right? Well, whatever. I'm just picking a couple of shades darker than myself, and I'm going to apply this right where I would want contour. I'm not going to go crazy though. I'm just going to do the contour of my cheeks and my forehead. Now to blend out my contour only, I'm using the Real Techniques buffing brush, and I'm going to take circular motions and buff this out. So I'm going in with a damp beauty blender by Real Techniques, and I'm just going to pat everything in until it's nice and evenly blended. So I'm going to use a baking technique, and I'm going in with Airspun translucent powder. I picked this up at Walmart. I believe they have it at Walgreens also. And I'm using my damp beauty blender from before and just dabbing this into the product and pushing it into the areas that I highlighted. It's going to look very heavy and powdery and just kind of really not cute, but it's going to bake into the skin. So we want all that powder to sit on top of the skin for a good 10 minutes. So I'm going to do my brows and then come back and dust everything off. So I've already got one brow done just to cut down on the time a little bit, and I'm going to take the spoolie on the end of my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz, and I believe it's in the shade medium brown. Brushing all that hair up, I'm going to start right at the beginning of my brow, and I'm going to drag a line to meet right about where my arch is. I don't have a lot of hair growth in that area, so filling it in is about the only thing I can do right now. So we don't want to leave that area hollow. So I'm taking the Brow Wiz and I'm going to use flicking motions and kind of create hair-like strokes to fill in that bare spot. While you apply this, you really want to keep going back over with the spoolie to brush out any extra product so you don't get any buildup. So for the top of my brow, I brush all the hair down and then basically just draw the shape that is there, filling it in and defining it a little bit more. Here I'm going in with my Morphe brow palette, and I'm taking the darkest shade in the palette. It's close to black, and I'm going to outline my brows first, and then I'm going to fill in afterwards. Every time I make a couple of different brush strokes, I go back in with my spoolie just to brush out any extra product so I don't have anything cakey or built up. Also, a good thing to remember when you're doing your brows, you want to keep the product very light in the front and heavy in the back, kind of almost like an ombre effect. So now that I'm satisfied with my brows, I'm going in to clean up with my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer and the same brow brush that I used with my winged liner, and I'm just going to clean that up nice and tight. So now I'm going to clean everything up with my Anastasia brow gel. This is clear, and I'm going to brush up in the front and then drag everything back. So now that I finished my brows, I can finally take all that powder off my face, and I'm just going to lightly dust everything off. Now I'm going in with my Anastasia contour kit, and I'm going to take Fawn, the middle shade, and I'm going to darken up my contour a little bit with a Real Techniques contour brush. And like before, I'm just using circular motions, and I'm following the same contour that I made the first time. So for my forehead, I'm not going to be using that contour kit. I'm actually using a large powder brush by Real Techniques and my Hoola bronzer, and I'm just going to dust that lightly along my temples, and my neck, and my cheeks. So I've been contouring my nose a lot lately. Normally I don't like it, but I like this technique I use. So I'm using my Hoola bronzer, and this is actually a tapered fluffy blending brush for my eyeshadow, and I'm going to use that to just carve it out and then blend everything in with circular motions. So now for blush, I'm using my Melon-Drama by Revlon, and I'm just going to put this right along the top of my contour to warm it up a little bit more, and then dust the apples of my cheeks. So for my favorite part, I'm using MAC Soft and Gentle to highlight, and I'm using a tapered brush just to pop that straight onto my cheekbone, and I'm going straight in with the brush. I don't want to lay it to the side because it is tapered. It has shorter hairs on the side, longer hairs in the center, so it blends out perfectly. I'm also going to highlight my Cupid's bow in the tip of my nose, using whatever is left on my brush from my cheekbones. Then I'm going to dust my temples, my forehead, my chin, but I don't want to do this too heavy with the product or else it will make you look sweaty. So now I'm going to smoke out my lower lash line, and I'm going in with Power Player, and I'm using a pencil brush, and I'm just going to rub that right along the bottom of my lash line. So I want to really brighten up that bottom lash line with the color, so I'm going in with Best Friend. It's a purpley mauve shade, and I'm going to smoke out that lower lash line. Now to brighten up my eyes, I'm using the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil, and this is in the shade Milk, and I'm just going to rub this right along my waterline. For mascara today, I'm using Outrageous Volume by Sephora. So, since I'm not wearing falsies today, I'm going to go in with Benefit's Roller Lash, I hardly have any product left in this tube, but it's the brush that makes all the difference. It really grabs onto your lashes and pulls them so you get a more volumized. So for lips today, I'm using MAC's Viva La Glam No. 2 by Miley Cyrus. I'm only going to apply this right where my lips meet in the center. So I obviously still have a lot of lip to cover. And for that, I'm going in with MAC's Liquid Lipstick in the shade Feels So Grand. This is going to just give like a clean, pretty line on the outside of my lips without touching right where my lips meet, so it doesn't get gunky and nasty and ugh. It's not cute. Last but not least, I'm going to highlight my brow bone and the inner corners of my eyes. Okay, so that sums up today's look. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.